that one of the three cardinal objectives of this administration is the fight against corruption. I was appointed by Mr. President as acting chairman of the EFCC on November 9th, 2015. In direct response to this mandate, I am building on the foundation laid by my predecessors and providing the needed legislative backing to the work of the EFCC. I therefore look forward to deepening the cooperation between the Commission and the National Assembly in the fight against corruption. Distinguished senators, at this juncture, permit me to highlight some of the measures we are adopting to transform the Commission. First, we want to restore the glory of the EFCC as a responsive and respected law enforcement agency. We are intensifying activities of the Commission, leading to many high-profile investigations, prosecution, and the recovery of stolen assets. We have embarked on the restructuring of the Commission with the creation of two new additional directorates, namely the Asset Forfeiture and Management of Forfeited Asset Directorate and the Staff Welfare and Cooperative Directorate. In similar vein, we have expanded operation by reactivating our offices in Ibadan and Maiduguri and opening a new office in Kaduna. We are also in the process of establishing two new offices in Uyo and Benin City. We are upgrading the manpower capacity with the recruitment of more staff, as well as enhancing staff welfare and career progression. We have also undertaken internal cleansing exercise to purge the organization of all forms of corruption and indiscipline. Despite these reforms, distinguished senators, we believe that there are still ground to be covered to help the EFCC fulfill its role and mandate. We are therefore focusing on prevention and a community ownership of the anti-corruption war. As part of our preventive strategy, we are mobilizing Nigerians from all walks of life for a national consensus on the fight against corruption. Your Excellency, distinguished senators, our beloved nation needs a new national understanding of the impact of corruption. That change must begin with all of us. To this end, our Public Affairs Department has been engaging more directly with Nigerians to secure the buy-in of everybody in the fight against corruption. Distinguished senators, clearly there is connection between corruption and the nation's current economic challenges. In aligning the activities of the Commission with the economic recovery agenda of the nation, we are focusing on the recovery of stolen funds. And this is evident in the light of recent notable recoveries made by the Commission. For example, we just recovered about 49 million naira at the Kaduna airport yesterday. Other examples are the recovery of $153 million and the cash we recover in Kaduna again, about $9.7 million plus 74,000 British pounds. These were hidden in a fireproof safe in Kaduna. Just yesterday, through our preventive and investigative activities, we are determined to create an enabling environment to ensure transparency, probity, and accountability in doing business in Nigeria. This will boost the economy and attract foreign direct investment. Distinguished senators, in the war against corruption, The judiciary is the key both in upholding justice and ensuring the integrity and sanctity of judicial process. Therefore, we plan to engage the judiciary to seek creative ways in which we can complement each other and reduce unnecessary bottleneck in trying cases of corruption. We are also working on making our financial intelligence unit, the NFIU, a more robust tool for dealing with money laundering, terrorist financing, and associated crime. In closing, Mr. President, distinguished senators, I assure you that I will run a professional EFCC that will be the pride of the nation. I will run a very transparent, responsible, and accountable organization. Finally, let me very sincerely thank you, Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, and our distinguished senators for your attention.
In which they made some unfavorable report about you. And so we were unable to clear you. But later we got a letter from the President renominating you. In that letter, Mr. President said he asked you about those issues raised by the DSS, and he was satisfied with their own explanations. Unfortunately, the President did not avail us of those, what the answers were to those allegations. Will you be able to inform this Senate what your response are regarding those issues? Second, you are an accountant, and you know the need for following principles of accounting in arriving at conclusions. Those of us who are lawyers are worried about the case or cases of non-obedience of court orders by your organization, and then the abuse of human rights in the face, in the way you do your work. So we believe that, yes, we all believe we need to fight corruption, but it has to be done in accordance with the law, and that's where the rule of law comes in. So what is your take in making sure that in doing your work, you do it within the ambit of the law, and also the respect for judiciary, which you even mentioned? Because if you don't obey court orders, I don't think that is respect for the judiciary. So I'd like you to tell this distinguished Senate how you intend to fight corruption within the ambit of law, making sure that the sanctity of the courts will also be maintained.
So the allegation raised in the DSS is already in writing. If I had known that the question would come up, I would have made copies to every distinguished senators. I say it was in writing. My response to the allegations contained in the report by the DSS is in writing. So I don't know if I had known that the question was coming up. And sir, please, sir, I am not. I really want to answer it, but I don't want to bring in something that will bring reenact rather bring in bad relationship between sister agencies, sir. Please, sir.
I appreciate your sagacity. Mr. Chairman, I have before me 2 reports from the SSS. One addressed to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in October, and the second one written to this chamber and was received by the Senate, the office of the clerk of the Senate, at 5:02 p.m. just yesterday. Mr. Ibrahim Magu, nominee for the position of the chairmanship of the EFCC. Having gone through this report, the first report indicted you, but because of the letter from Mr. President, you are here again. Just yesterday, this report was received from the SSS. Mr. Chairman, if I have your permission, I want to read paragraph 14 of that report. Paragraph 14 of that report reads thus: in the light of the foregoing, many other issues have been mentioned. In the light of the foregoing, Magu, M-A-G-U, Magu in capital letters, has failed the integrity test.
Section 14.
Paragraph 14.
Page 5.
Page 5, paragraph 14.
The last page.
In the light of the foregoing, Magu has failed the integrity test and will eventually constitute a liability to the anti-corruption drive of the present administration. When I read this morning, I also want to inform you, Mr. Magu, if you are not aware, that every nominee that comes to this Senate, we do request for screening by the SSS. It did not start with you, it will not end with you. So it's at the premise of this request that we have received this from the SSS. The Department of State Security Service is to us what the FBI and CIA is. And we cannot ridicule. We cannot undermine. We cannot put in abeyance the report of the department. Yes, sir. I'm coming. It's a very important, Mr. Chairman. Please, excuse me, please. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Acting Chairman, I'm sorry. Anyone who wants to be chairman of EFCC must have the character and characteristics of the wife of Caesar. You must be unblemished, you must be pure, you must be stainless. And from the question and answer that has been going on, from my own myopic point of view, Mr. Chairman, Acting Chairman, from the questions asked so far, from my own, this is my own personal assessment, I conclude that there is, as I speak to you, there is a conclusion of a case right now in the police station, which you are aware of, where EFCC people raided a particular house, C of O's taken, and those C of O's were found in the market. And police have investigated. Two of the C of O's have been returned back to the owner. Under your watch as EFCC chairman, do you still think after this report, and as a result of what has happened to the C of O of an innocent Nigerian, do you still see yourself qualified to be the chairman of EFCC, or we take you to Golgotha?
It's the same paper. It's that one that was here the other time. Verbatim. I have read it. One is missing. In those days, there were 2 of such reports submitted to this office the same day. There were 2 of such reports submitted to this office by the same law enforcement agency. 2 different reports, the same day, about the same people. That goes to tell you the credibility of such an institution. Yes. 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 How can you submit two different reports on the same matter, the same date, the same date? So I have respect for everybody in this hall. Everybody in this hall. I respect everybody, and I have senior brothers in this hall. Please, I have senior brothers in this hall. Elder Gemade, please, what does it mean if an institution can submit two varying reports on the same person on the same day? Yes. Yes. And this one, Milai is here. Milai knows. Dino is my friend. We were fighting corruption together until he came to this house. He abandoned us. Yes. Yes. It's true, sir. Yes. Yes. No, I have to be open. I have to be open. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, Chair, go.
Sir. Okay. Okay, the CFO, the cases of stolen CFO, it's not everybody, it's not everything that is done in EFCC I have knowledge. The EFCC is too big. Believe me, if not now, I didn't know that there was a case pending against EFCC staff in the police station, because they know if I hear that one, I will make sure I deal with whoever is involved. So I will now go back and investigate and give you a feedback after my investigation. My relationship with Air Commando Umar Mohammed, retired. I didn't know him from Adam. I don't know him. Until we were appointed as members of the Armed Forces Investigation Panel. He happens to be a member of the panel, and I happen to be a member of the panel. That was the first time I met Mohammed, even though he was popular around, but to God Almighty, I didn't know him until we were appointed as members of the investigation team of the procurement of our armed forces. That was how much I know him. And I said, sir, that house, the house I am staying, actually belonged to Mrs. Dora Akunyele, late Dora Akunyele. After the burial, her son was staying in that house. But her son was resident in the US. So the son was looking for money to go back to the US. That was how the house was got. It was rented. They call it safe house. They call it safe house. Every key personnel of government do stay in a safe house. Such safe house are actually rented and furnished by the government. And in fact, when this allegation came up, immediately I arrived. I called my people, my media people. We went with all the media people. They enter even my bedroom. Let them see the kind of furniture I have, if it is worth what they are talking about. And I'm telling you, up to now, because I have no interest, I don't even know when the rent of that house will expire. When it expires, the man comes, I can still pack back to Karo. I was actually comfortable in Karo because there was too much pressure from people in authority that I must relocate, otherwise they will deal with me. So that's it. The high-profile cases, our job stopped at investigating, thorough investigation of all cases. When investigation is concluded, enough evidence are recovered, then we take it to court, sir. The rest is left for the court. You have an oversight function in this regard. Hello, sir. You have an oversight function in this regard. It will help us if you can do something so that they can fast track the prosecution process at the court level, because we don't have control of the court. So the endlessness is actually in the courtroom. Senator Kaura, I went to defense headquarters. Well, I believe in interagency cooperation. I also believe that everybody has a duty to fight corruption. Everybody has a responsibility to fight corruption. But I went there when I was mobilizing women against corruption. So I appealed to the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, the Air Force, and the Inspector General of Police to please also, we are inviting uniformed women to come for this exercise. And they came on the 7th of December, and we had a good time at the conference center in Abuja here. So that's why I went there. Yes, we arrest businessmen, we prosecute them. It is only when somebody has committed an offense. We do not unnecessarily go after people. This, I don't know whether, sir, please, you need to check whether there is anybody F.O. Adams in SSS.
We'll take comments and contributions before we now put the question. But I think before we go, I think there's an administrative issue that we need to get some clarity on. That is regards the issue of the fact that there are meant to be 2 letters coming from Director SSS written to the clerk. And I think I'll need the clerk to confirm how many letters that they have received from the DGA SSS on this matter.
Office on the 3rd of October 2016 with reference number SV 114/2 from the Department of State Security Services. Only 1 letter was received.
Consider the request of Mr. President CNC for the confirmation of a nominee for appointment as chairman of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC. The nominee answered questions from distinguished senators on economic and financial crime matters, corruption, and a number of topical issues thereafter. The committee did not approve the nomination of Ibrahim Magu as chairman of Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Yes. Of the Senate.
Mr. President, the decision has been taken, and I have no business with that. But my right as a senator to reflect and to say here that up initio the issue of letter from DSS has been raised. I have 2 letters here. None of them is addressed to you. One is addressed to the clerk. One is addressed to the to National SA. That is what has been done. Number one. Number two, Mr. President. Yesterday, we got a letter from Custom signed by an assistant director to the clerk. We said that was not the right thing to do. This letter, if worth it, should have been written and signed by the DGSS. So, if you have concluded the nature, by the wish of God and nature of democracy, majority will have its way and minority will have its say. All I'm saying is there are 2 letters here, and I beg your permission, Mr. President, to put it on the table.
Distinguished, that's why it was important that the clerk clarify the issues. If there were 2 letters written to the clerk, with all due respect, if there were 2 letters written to the clerks, I would totally agree with what you are saying. 1 letter was written to the clerk, 1 letter was written to the advisor to the National Assembly. Now, yesterday, the same agency referred to one of the letters. I think if there was any ambiguity beforehand, that has been there. But as you rightly said, this is a matter that we have ruled about. And I think it's important for us. We should not rubbish an institution for the process of a process. We're not here for individuals. That's all. So your rule of order, rule out of order. Yes, leader of the state.
DG. Mr. President and my colleagues, my additional prayer is, since the Senate have rejected the nomination of the...
You mean this is it?
Consequence to the decision of the Senate to reject the nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Magu, I therefore move that the Senate by resolution as the highest public officer in EFCC to continue to take over the leadership of EFCC. As there is no provision in the first place for acting.
This decision and confirmation process speaks for itself. And I believe that in passing any further resolution on this, we'll be saying the obvious. I think it is very clear. What we have taken decision today is that we have not confirmed Ibrahim Magu as the chairman. And as such, it goes to show that it requires for the president to renominate another candidate, and in the interim, that he cannot, of course, somebody else will have to carry on the exercise. I think, but I don't think there's need for us to put another motion on that matter. So that will rule out on that matter. So the thing is, let me first of all thank all of you on your contribution on this matter and the observation of the questioning and the way the matter was carried in an open and transparent manner. What we're seeing here is a democracy at work. 2 weeks ago, we were here also receiving a process of screening, and yet today we're doing that as well. I believe that what we have done, our own part, we have followed the constitution and the process, and we hope that the executive will quickly act and ensure bringing name as soon as possible so that the activities of the agency is not deterred. Leader of the Senate.